Good evening and welcome to the program, The Desk on Global Television. Time for us to look at issues from various perspectives. On today's edition, we'll be focusing on the U.S., where senior U.S. officials planned to meet their Israeli counterparts on Thursday to discuss a potential deal to end the conflict in Lebanon and secure Israel's northern borders against Hezbollah's attack. The U.S. visit came as Palestinian militant group Hamas rejected separate truce proposals for the fighting in Gaza, where the Israeli strikes continued overnight. Let's also let you know that less than a week before the U.S. presidential election, Washington's envoys Amos Hochstein and Brett McGurk were expected in Israel as Israeli forces continue their intense ground and air campaign against Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. So we'll be looking at the consequences of first, the refusal of the truce proposal by Hamas militant groups and also the continued strike by Israel. Okay, we'll be moving from there to other talking issues. We'll be going straight to Zimbabwe. We've got some very interesting issues making the rounds there as access to social media in Mozambique was restricted for the second time in a week on Thursday. A global internet watchdog said as the opposition called for the strikes over a disputed presidential election. That's what's playing out in Mozambique, where Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp all have been shut down. Opposition figurehead Venancio Mondlane, who is 50, leader of the small Podemos party, called a nationwide strike from Thursday to November 7th after the ruling Frelimo party's Daniel Chapo was declared winner of the election. It was unclear if the Mondlane's call to paralyze the country would be followed, but the capital Maputo was a ghost city on Thursday. So we'll be looking at the implication of what's playing out in Zimbabwe. We saw similar occurrence in Kenya over tax issues, tax laws that was rescinded by President William Ruto. So now we're seeing Mozambique having its own fair share of protests by its young citizens. Okay, from there we'll be moving on to other very interesting talking points as we look at issues making the rounds in Nigeria, where it's all about insecurity matters making the news. The lawmaker representing Delta North Senatorial District is in the news this evening. His name, Senator Ned Nwoko, has again defended his proposed bill that will allow Nigerians to bear arms for self-defense, stating that it could serve as a deterrent against criminal activities, particularly kidnappings. Meanwhile, Nwoko then shared a personal story of loss, recounting how his senior legislative aide was killed in a kidnapping incident last November, reflecting on the tragedy. Nwoko argued that armed citizens could discourage criminals from operating so freely. However, Nwoko clarified that his proposal includes street regulation. So it's going to make for a very big talking point to see how this would it be the right way to go for Nigerians to bear arms, and if what would be the strict regulations, and who would be given the mandate to determine what the regulations are and how to implement it. So a very interesting talking point by Ned Nwoko, who is from Delta North Senatorial District. All right, from there we'll be heading to the education sector, where we've got a very interesting talking point where the Joint Action Committee of the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities will meet with the federal government. That will be had met with the federal government as regards the ongoing strike action. So we'll be looking at keenly what's the outcome of the meeting and what it portends for the country's educational system. All right, from there, the education sector will be moving to another very interesting talking point, which has to do with the House of Representatives, as the House of Representatives has urged the federal government to withdraw airstrip licenses already issued to private individuals and organizations in the interest of national security. This is even as the House sought immediate stoppage of the issuance of new licenses for the operations of airstrips to individuals and organizations. So we'll be looking at that at a very close range. From that talking point, we'll go to the immigration, where the big talk is about the fact that the Nigerian Immigration Service has announced the launch of a phased contactless passport renewal system set to begin in Canada on November 1st, 2024. That's exactly 24 hours from now. This new system allows Nigerians to renew their passports online, greatly reducing the need for in-person visits to the NIS offices. The NIS offices shared the announcement on Wednesday through a video posted on its official account. So we'll be looking at how this is going to pan out. It's going to be starting from Canada, then expand to the United Kingdom, then the United States, then Italy. By December 1st, it will be available in Nigeria and other global locations. The effectiveness is what we'll be looking at, and what the implications will be for Nigerians, and how would it be maintained will be a very strong talking point for us on today's edition of The Desk. And not forgetting, we'll still take you to Rivers State, where a former National Publicity Secretary of the defunct New People's Democratic Party, Chief Eze Chukwuemeka Eze, says it appears that President Bola Tinubu is backing his minister Nyesom Wike to unleash terror in Rivers State. The All Progressive Congress APC chieftain said this in reaction to the ruling of the Federal High Court in Abuja, which stopped the Central Bank of Nigeria from disbursing monthly federal allocations to Rivers State. So we'll be looking at that keenly. Has the president done anything wrong or not, or what could he have done to better the lot of the people of Rivers State? These and other issues is what we'll be discussing, hopefully after this break on the program, The Desk. Stay with us. Is The Desk on Global Television.
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Momodu on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are the Palestinians. We are the Canaan, because
that this country gets it right.
Who are these bandits?
It's The Desk on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on The Desk. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay on The Desk.
All right, welcome back from that break. It's still The Desk on Global Television, and we're looking at issues from the global perspective, and we go to the national and sub-national level. Hopefully, in the course of the program, the publisher of Indigo newspaper in the person of Chibuzo Ugbefi Onya would hopefully be joining us in the discourse. Well, before we have him join us, I've got my current affairs analyst in the studio in the person of Ramsey Enoch to help us just x-ray some of the talking points we've got on today's edition, and we'll be beginning from the global scene. Ramsey, thank you for stepping in to look at issues from the global perspective.
It's a pleasure, Anthony.
All right, let's begin from where it hurts the most, looking at the Middle East, where senior U.S. officials planned to meet Israeli counterparts to discuss the potential deal to end the conflict in Lebanon and secure Israel's northern border against Hezbollah attacks. The U.S. visit came as Palestinian militant group Hamas rejected a separate truce proposal for the fighting in Gaza, where Israeli strikes continued overnight. Let's look at the fact that the U.S. had to wait this long for them to step in and is now trying to broker a deal to end the war in Lebanon. For some persons, they believe the U.S. is, in one hand, supporting whatever the Israelis are doing with the support, giving them arms and ammunition.
Well, I think it's never too late, okay? But it's better late than never, even. And this is a war situation. So you can't just wake up overnight and just step into a war situation. I think what the U.S. is doing, U.S. to an extent, they are part of the world powers. And if a situation like that arises, you know how this fight started. Everyone know how this fight started, how it has lingered, lives been lost, properties been lost, and these people are not even ready to stop this fight at all.
Do you agree that the U.S. is double-faced?
I can't say that categorically that the U.S. are double-faced. But then, one thing that you need to know is this. It's just like the kind of politics that we have in Nigeria and some other countries where when it doesn't go your way, you will feel, well, something has been manipulated, maybe probably because you didn't win. What U.S. is doing, U.S. is not supporting Israel. Okay, if U.S. is supporting Israel, it would have been obvious. Imagine U.S. and Israel coming together. What is Lebanon? What is Gaza? You know, so this is what we need to consider in the first place. But it's so good that they are coming in to now say, okay, let there be peace. That is what someone that plays the role of a father should do. Because if you look at this, the warring nations, if you look at them critically, you will know that U.S. is ahead of them. And if U.S. is given this instruction, they should go by it. But then, whatever it is, war is not good for any nation. Whatever the problem is, whatever the grievance is, and the disagreements are, they should just sheath their sword and let peace reign. Because at the end of the day, they will have so much. See, war is not good. Before you recover from this war, it's going to take a lot of time. So there is no need going to war in the first place. So bringing in peace is a good one, and I want to encourage the parties involved to embrace this peace.
But don't you think they've gone over line already? We hear the Hamas militant group has rejected the truce proposal being put forward. Is that not a sign to say they've crossed the line? Israel has crossed the line, so they're prepared for all-out war against the Israelis and its allies?
Refusing a truce, okay, could be for so many reasons. You can't say Israel have crossed the line. Okay, if you want to say if they want to believe that Israel has crossed the line, you see how the war has been going. This one attacks, this one retaliates. This one retaliates, this one attack. You know, it's been attack, and all of that. So if you want to say Israel has gone across board, and they don't want to accept the truce or the whatever agreement or whatever proposal that the United States is bringing in, at the end of the day, it means, well, rejecting what we are saying now means you want war. And as it is, if the U.S. backs out, nobody knows what will happen, because Israel have a history All right, Israel have a history that everyone knows. When it comes to war, you know, everyone know what it is with the Israeli. And what they should be thinking of right now, that I'll keep saying, war is not good for any nation. But then, you don't need to sit back, okay, and make assumptions and say, okay, these people have gone across board, they won't fight, all right, we want to fight. Because at the end of the day, the citizens will suffer. People that properties being lost, lives being lost, cannot be regained back, especially for lives being lost. So in whatever situation, whatever the problem is, peace is better. I was just talking about Russia and Ukraine with someone before we actually, before I came on set. And if you begin to look at these warring nations, the impact is something that stands almost forever. Because if you look at countries where there have been war in the past, you will see that there will be a trace, one trace or the other, to the impact of this war. They are not there anymore, but their children, okay, grandchildren are feeling the negative impacts of this war. So for any reason, if US is saying, all right, the truth, what you guys should do is let there be peace, share your sword, there should be there shouldn't be war anymore. I think it's good to embrace it, whether or not anyone has crossed the borderline.
But can the U.S. be calling for a truce where Israel is still continuing bombardment of Lebanon?
If you're talking about bombardment, if not until the truce is being accepted, the truce is just coming out. Okay, if the truce is being accepted, if Israel accepts the truce, and Hamas don't accept, it is a problem. Because if you accept that there will be peace and you withdraw your men, then somebody just strike. You know what the damage is. Because what these two people are doing now, number one, protecting their borderline. There is a place where their military officers are situated to make sure these people don't cross. There are some of their major establishments that needs to be protected now so that there won't be war. Someone was just saying something that, okay, Russia and Ukraine have gotten an agreement. Okay, no matter what we do, no matter the fight, don't touch our oil wells, don't touch our oil wells. And there is this agreement. If you can have this kind of agreement, why not stop the war? What is so particular about the war? The same thing is applicable to Israel, Hamas, Gaza, whatever war that you want to talk about, Palestine. Well, see, at the end of the day, the nation will have to struggle to start to pick it up again. So no matter what, now you can't say, okay, we lost more. The damages they've done to us is more. So we want to retaliate. As you are trying to retaliate, these other ones are warming up again to come for more bombardment. So more harm will be done than good. So the earlier, the better. Embracing this, okay, is the most important thing. And then going back to history, to war history, how it has happened in the past. There are some wars that, you know, no matter what you fight, you can't defeat. So there is no need even going into such wars for maybe because you have someone behind, as the case may be. I'm not saying, but maybe you have someone behind giving you a push. No matter the push that the person gives you, no matter the support that anyone gives you to fight, at the end of the day, you who is fighting the war will suffer and face the heat more than whoever that is giving you the support. And at the end of the day, you will be at the losing end. So the bottom line is, whatever insinuation, because all these things all this question you're asking, everything now is still insinuation. But then the truth, accepting it, is the most important thing, if you ask me from my own perspective anyway.
All right, let's move on to the next talking point. Let's go to Mozambique, where there's been a disputed election there. And currently, the government, for the second time in 2 weeks, have shut down the social media as a way of curtailing the protests. Do you think there's an issue with African leaders, the political space, elections not being sincere, votes of electorates not counted?
I think the democracy that was inherited is different from what we have. I was discussing with someone taking cue from the US election, and we're looking at some of the incidents that has taken place there, both the positive and the negative, because whether you like it or not, whatever it is that has the positive aspect of it also have the negative aspect. What am I talking about? Okay, election, democracy is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. But then, when there is a broad daylight robbery of votes, all right, disenfranchising people who have the legal right to vote and be voted for. Sometimes they carry out this protest just to express grievances, but then nothing may be coming out of it, especially a country where the government also have hand in the judiciary. Because what you will hear at the end of the day is, all right, go to court, like we've heard in the past from some countries of the world. All right, so whatever that is happening in Mozambique right now, it's not new, okay? But then, this is politics we're talking about here. This is something that you need to look at the both sides of the coin. We are far away from Mozambique. The only thing we can react to right now is what the observers are saying, what the election observers are saying, and what we see on paper, and what we see on the internet, and what we see on the social media. Why shut down the social media? What are you hiding? Because I could remember sometimes
back. Do you think that is more of trying to curtail the protest?
You are infringing on the people's rights, shutting down the social media. You are cutting down their social life, which is their fundamental right, as the case may be. All right? If you want to censor, good and fine. But shutting down social media for whatever reason, I don't know the reason why they actually shut down the social media. But then whoever that is grieved, you know, the fastest way to reach the world right now is because the world is a global village. We are in the 21st century where everything has been digitalized. Whatever we're doing now, like now we're here, we're on DSTV, we're on StarTimes. People can watch us from almost every where in Nigeria and some parts of Africa, as the case may be. That is the power of the digitalized society. So talking about social media, now whatever you do here, you can tweet it and somebody else tweets it, and before you know, it has gone almost 1/3 of the world in just a twinkle of an eye. That's what it is. So a lot of persons are so scared. Number one, what effects, negative or positive, will it have on the country? Because a lot of country, the president, whoever it is that is coming into office right now, would want bilateral trade, bilateral relationship, diplomatic ties with some other countries of the world. But there is some form of painting that a country will receive, and people would not want to invest in that country because of the volatile nature of that country. All this put together may result to the reason why the social media has been shut down. But then, you don't shut down social media because people are protesting. If you know people are protesting, you can also come out to defend whatever that has happened. The INEC, okay, they don't have INEC there. The electoral body, yeah. Okay, the electoral body can come out, okay, to defend whatever they've done, and just let the people know that your vote counted. A and B was put together, and this is what was done. Transparency is what everyone will want to ask for in every election anywhere in this world. So for Mozambique, we just pray that there be peace in that country. You know, Mozambique is just like it's not a very big country that should go into anything that will result to violence right now, because the economy of Mozambique too is not the very buoyant type. You understand?
All right. Well said from Mozambique. Let's come back to Nigeria, and we're focusing on the very interesting talking point where the lawmaker representing Delta North Senatorial District in the person of Senator Ned Nwoko has defended his proposed bill for Nigerians to carry arms, saying it's a sure way to end or limit the insecurity Nigerians are facing, and talked about the fact that his own, legislative aide also died during the incident of kidnapping, and he believes if Nigerians are allowed to bear arms, that could help curtail insecurity, because before these kidnappers or bandits attack, they know that these other persons are also armed, so that could be a deterrent. Do you agree with Ned Nwoko?
Oh, okay, let me give you an instance. We heard that a number of soldiers, armed men, okay, lost their life in a state in Nigeria.
Are you talking about the Okoma?
Okoma. I didn't want to call the name of the place, just making reference now. These are military officers, military personnel that are being armed. See, let me tell you something. I'm actually picking it up from your last statement where he made an instance that if Boko Haram or kidnappers or the bandits know that you have arm, they wouldn't come to attack. No.
It would reduce it. And
it won't reduce anything. Rather, it will increase it. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
One of the major problems that we have in the society today, especially in third world countries, is exposure to arms. We know the arms carrying is like a spirit. When you are armed, there is this energy, there is this gut that you have carrying arms. Because at that point when you're carrying arms, you have that, there is this gut that you have. Anything, you can do anything at that particular point in time because you know you are protected. In a country where there is a lot of lawlessness, we know, like America and some other places where people are licensed to carry arms, we've heard of how people have carelessly, for reasons that are not worth it, okay, taking lives that are not supposed to be taken. Coming down to Africa, where a lot of corruption happen, where a lot of hunger is in place, where a lot of people are jobless. I am itemizing this, okay. Just a few. Then you give people arms. What would they do?
No, but according to him, there are going to be restrictions. It doesn't just mean every...
My brother.
How he's going to get arms.
What do you mean by restriction?
There will be rules, there will be regulations.
Not like people don't carry arms in Nigeria. People carry arms in Nigeria.
Carry arms.
There are qualified people that carry arms in Nigeria. You don't know? There are people that have guns in their house right now that are licensed.
Yes.
And they have it. So what are we talking about? You want every Dick and Harry on the streets to carry it? Is that what he's saying? I don't know. He's coming from a perspective, because if you have been a victim, like he made mention of the fact that his own aide actually is a victim. If you're coming from that aspect, sometimes you think certain things outside the box, but then when you begin to consider the generality of Nigerians, okay, then you begin to consider the number of people that are jobless, looking for what to do, and they have arms, my brother.
No, but definitely you would not give arms to someone who is unemployed.
My brother, when the arms are everywhere, when two or three persons have the arms, there are people that will possess it illegally. From the people who have it legally, it will enter the hand of the people who don't have it legally. And you know how these things happen. And already we're having situations like that. We've had, though not proven, but we've had that some persons that got arms during maybe an exercise.
During the elections.
Pre-elections, as the case may be, yeah. To protect some persons, or maybe for a certain reason, after the election, the arms are not being retrieved. And what happened to it? It moves from one hand to the other. You've heard when bandits or kidnappers are being arrested, and you hear this person sold this arm to me, or acquire this arm from this person, and all of that. These arms keep moving from one hand to the other until it gets to the notorious criminal whose business is to involve in banditry, robbery, kidnap and all of that. So if there is a way it can be done so that it doesn't get into every hands, which is going to be difficult, it's fine. What is proposing is not entirely bad, but some things you need to put into consideration before you make some things happen is you look at the society in which we are in. All of us know what is good and what is ideal and what is genuine and what is real. But then, before all of this come to play, there are certain things you need to put together. The maturity of the people that you're talking about. How strong is the Constitution? Do some persons do certain things and go free with it, and some other persons are held accountable? There are one or two things you need to put into consideration before you actually make such proposals. But I want to tell you categorically that licensing arms in Nigeria will not reduce insecurity. That is not the way to go. Nigerians and people in authority know what to do to stop this banditry if they want to stop it. This insecurity, if they want to stop it. The chiefs are doing their best. The president is doing his best. Individuals are doing their best, but the best is not good enough yet. We can only give credit to the people in charge until we have one single Nigerian go to the farm and return happily without their mind skipping. You can travel from one state to the other without the fear of, oh, this place is bushy. Anything can happen. When we get to that level, we know that, yes, the nation is moving to the right direction, but effort is on ground, but more needs to be done. That's what we're saying.
All right, moving on, let's move on to the education sector, where the Joint Committee of the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions met with the federal government as regards the ongoing strike action. Let's don't go too far. Don't you think it's a shame that the federal government keeps going back and forth when it comes to the education sector owing of salaries? Now they attended to ASUB on the non-academic staff. Do you think that was a fair deal on the part of the government to offset the 4 months withheld salary and leave that of the non-academic staff? That disparity, was that fair? And do you think ASU on their own part was also fair not bringing SANU and others to board?
No, they are different bodies.
Yeah, but they are still in the education sector.
They are still in the education sector. But then, you know how these things happen. NASU is, and that's why they have their own association. NASU, okay, then ASU, all right? Association of staff, university staffs, okay, then non-academic staffs. You understand? Then Association of Senior Staffs of the University. All of this put together, you will know that these are different bodies, different associations, but they are knitted. One cannot work successfully without the other, and that's why they are one, under one umbrella, because they are all connected to the university, just like the Polytechnic have theirs. But let me come to this. A vice chancellor today in one of the papers said in 2025, we are going to have more people leaving the country. The Japa syndrome is going to increase, and the educational sector will deteriorate the more, and the university may be losing its value. It will amaze you that people leave Nigeria, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to go to places like Benin Republic to go study, to Ghana to go study. This is appalling. In a sane country where the educational sector is up and doing, these countries should be coming to Nigeria. But when you have the educational sector having just a little or no value at all, you see all these things happening. If there is any sector that should be taken seriously, it's the educational sector. Because every other profession go through this process. Apart from even the professional courses you take, you are being taught. Forget about the fact that we are in a digital age where people go on social media like YouTube, you know, and they get to learn one or two things. You can't compare whatever you learn from YouTube to that of the classroom, because I've seen people who learn things from YouTube and they still look for somebody to show it to them physically. The doctors that we have today, even the politicians themselves, they were once students. So how comes some people are folding their arms, maybe because of reasons best known to them that I don't know and may not want to know, because I believe in the supremacy, okay, and in the powerfulness of the educational sector and, of course, education. If you want to say education is expensive, try ignorance, try illiteracy. And we were just talking about insecurity right now, just now. Don't you think the deteriorating state of the educational sector will lead to more recruitment for these bandits and these people that constitute nuisance in the society? These are the things we should be looking at. If we are trying to curb insecurity, trying to fight insecurity, and these sectors are being taken for granted, then we should know that these guys who are coming out as half-baked, that may not be able to get something to lay their hands on immediately, may be possible recruits for banditry, for kidnappers,
shouldn't that be
for terrorism?
The worry of the federal government? And
that's what we're saying. That should be the number one priority. See, a lot of times in Nigeria, we like doing damage control. There is no way you can cut the tree and not deal with the roots, and you don't expect that tree to grow again. If you want to deal with this situation, let's look at some very strategic things, sectors. Okay? The educational sector is very vital for every country. See, let me tell you something. The working class of every country, the youths, are the life wire of every nation. If not until this is being known, we will keep struggling. The youth needs to be given a place, even if not in governance. They should be equipped enough to support the economy and the growth and development of every nation. We have a lot of societal decadence now because these people, they are not well equipped from the four walls of the university. How would you say someone is well grounded from the university where someone is having a crash program? Somebody is dropping syllabus just because the person needs to graduate and the school needs to meet up with the calendar so they can push these children for NYSC and all of that. Then at the end of the day, we begin to cry foul that we have half-baked graduates from the university. This is where it starts from. The bottom line is, get to the drawing table again. The federal government shouldn't be tired of negotiation. Let's talk. What is it? We can't do this now, but we can do this. Looking at the economic situation, everyone knows what is happening in Nigeria, but the approach to these situations also matters so much. So these are the areas we should look at. For ASUU, I will tell you categorically that ASUU have not turned their backs on NASU. They won't do that, because the lecturers cannot even function in isolation.
Okay, the meeting they held today was not conclusive per se. The government has assured they would make those payments, but there was no time frame given. And we're talking about the outgoing minister being involved in this meeting. Do you think there's sincerity on the part of the government, knowing fully whether it's the outgoing minister that is negotiating this deal, and the fact that there's no time frame?
Anthony, you're my child. For instance, okay, I'm your child. I'm hungry. Daddy, I'm hungry. I need food. Then you say, okay, go. Food is coming. When is this food coming? Who is bringing the food? I don't know. You are there crying as a child. You can't just look at me like that. Give me something. The nation, there is hunger in the land. Some of these people, see, where this problem is the fact that a lot of people don't even have more than one source of income. These people, some of these people, this NASU and this ASU and these people you're talking about, some of them are not digitally inclined that you can say they would do remote jobs and have a side hustle. The only thing some of them know is that we are lecturers, we are non-academic staffs, and this is what we'll do. And of course, when I retire or whatever, I will have pension. Maybe the highest they have is just maybe a house they built somewhere for their family to put their heads in. So these are things you put into consideration before certain things are done. If you tell me, okay, we will pay you, when are you going to pay me? I will just give you a part of it. I know you guys are hungry. We are all human. The money may not be there in large quantity, even though some persons are at the other end getting whatever they want to get because they are in power or something. But then, if the money is not there, there is a way this situation can be approached and handled amicably that everyone will go home smiling.
All right, let's hope the government would do the needful, give a timeline so that NASU and SANU and others would not down tools again. Already they're saying they would not call off their strike until their salaries are received. Let's move on to the next talking point as we reach the business end of the program. The House of Representatives has urged the federal government to withdraw the airstrip licenses already issued to private individuals and organizations in the interest of national security. This is even as the House sought immediate stoppage of the issuance of new licenses for the operation of airstrips to individuals and organizations. The resolutions were sequel to the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by the member representing Gumi, Bukuyum Federal Constituency of Zamfara State, Abubakar Gumi, justifying the importance of the motion. Gumi, who defected to the APC from the PDP during Wednesday's plenary, noted that only recently the federal government, through the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, confirmed the approval of the airstrip for Living Faith Church situated on Canaan land in Ota, Ogun State. He further said that on Sunday, October 6, 2024, the founder of the Living Faith Church, also known as Winners Chapel, Bishop Oyedepo, joined the Telila Night Special Edition at Covenant University Chapel, Ota, informed that he is a congregation of the approval of the airstrip granted by the federal government to his church. Let's look at this. Is looking. Is this coming from a place of sincerity? Yes, he said for the interest of national security, but this is sounding more like for a place of religious bias.
Well, I think you've said it all. Well, there are so many things we need to do. And if not until we begin to tackle the real things that constitute insecurity in this country, taking eyes from jealousy, taking eyes from religious differences, taking eyes from tradition, religion, belief, personal interest, we cannot get it right. There are things that are constituting insecurity in this country that the ordinary Nigerian on the street even know. You don't need a prophet to tell you this. So let's do the needful. Let's don't politicize things that are not supposed to be politicized. If anyone is more than you, is more than you. If anyone is blessed, is blessed. Nigeria is a country that belongs to every one of us. You must not be a politician before you have some privileges. So if we want to do what we need to do, if we are really serious about tackling security in this country,
will you be surprised if these prayers are answered? Would you be disappointed?
Prayers, what prayer?
Based on what the move he's seeking for the licenses to be withdrawn and revoked. Do you think the federal government would accede to his request? Well,
I don't know what the federal government have done things in the past that beat people's imagination. They've done things in the past that have gotten applause, that have gotten attack. The same thing I'm still saying is what I'm saying. Because there are some things you can do now, but the nemesis is in front. And it's so unfortunate. We're just talking about the war situation where people go to war and the children come to suffer the effect and the impact of this war. These are people that are innocent. But now they just found themselves in this situation. Maybe this war may be because someone is greedy. Maybe this war is because someone is saying this land is my own. This land is not your own. A land that you cannot take anywhere. This resources is my own. A resources that one day you go 6 feet and leave. But then you subject a nation, a generation to acute poverty, pain, because of your own selfish interests, because of your own mentality. It is appalling. Right. Same thing we're talking about here. Some things happen, and originally everyone know it is not supposed to happen. But because of the interest of some persons and in an attempt to please those people, we allow those things happen. But there are some things will happen that, if we want to allow to happen, we should also consider the implication, the future implication of it.
All right, as we wrap it up, we know that the big story about the Nigerian Immigration Service announcing a launch of a phased contactless passport renewal system set to begin in Canada on November 1st, 2024. This new system allows Nigerians to renew their passport online, greatly reducing the need for in-person visit to the NIS offices. The NIS shared the announcement on Wednesday through a video posted on its official X account. The service will expand to the United Kingdom, the US, Italy on November 15th and December 1st. It will be available in Nigeria and other global locations. Are you excited about this possibility? And looking at the internet issues and the power issues we have in Nigeria, are you confident this process would be seamless?
Well, anything that has to do with the internet, I don't see the seamlessness of it. I don't know if you were affected in any way. What just happened with the financial sector?
It's still ongoing.
It's still ongoing. That's what we're talking about. There are certain things, basics, that we need to get right. Like I was saying before we venture into certain things. Robust, good, nice idea, being embraced all over the world. Well, very good, juicy. But then, what do we need to put in place to have it juicy? It may look juicy, but coming to you, the services, the way you enjoy it may not be juicy because the needful has not been done. So that's what we're talking about. Let the needful be done. The people who are proposing this, the people who are calling those things into existence, they know what they need to do. I didn't even ask you before you talked about the internet, before you talk about power. How many businesses are running seamlessly in Nigeria today with power available, with the internet available uninterrupted? You still pay for these things sometimes and you still don't get it.
All right, we're going to call it a wrap on that note. I want to say a big thank you to Ramsey Noah for Enoch.
Well, he's always calling me Ramsey Noah. I'm Ramsey Enoch Agbo, of course.
I want to say thank you, Ramsey Agbo, for joining me in the live studio.
Thank you, Anthony, for having me too.
Deep analysis of all the talking points from the global perspective to the national and subnational levels. And that's how we call it a wrap on today's edition of the program, The Desk. My name is Anthony Momori saying thank you for being part of the show.